What's up, everybody? Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 4. But before we get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you thought about this episode of Star Trek Picard, and what you thought about my episode in the review. Alright guys, so let's move on to some information about this episode. The title of this episode is No Win Scenario. The release information is that it came out on March 9, 2023. The cast includes Patrick Stewart, Jerry Ryan, Jonathan Frakes, Ed Spielers, Todd Stashwick, Amanda Plummer, Gates McFadden, with a runtime of 58 minutes. So, in the last episode, if you remember, the Titan was brought down. The Shriek used that one move where it put like the portal, and the Titan accidentally shot itself dead. This episode, we're back there is trying to see if the Titan maybe can find a way to get out. Spoiler, guys. Oh, shit. Since we're talking about, the show's called Picard, and it has, I think, 10 episodes, there's no way he's dying right here. Alright, so they're going to be able to get out. But yeah, the basic episode is how are they going to get out? That's the main idea of what we're doing here. Alright, so let's move on now to my thoughts. Spoiler-free thoughts, guys. Remember, I'll do a spoiler section afterwards, and I'll time it down when we're going to get there. Alright, so this episode has one of my favorite moments I've had in Star Trek in a long time, and it's when one character reenacts his participation in an event from Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm not going to spoil what that is here. We'll get to that in the spoiler section. But yeah, this was an incredible moment, and it was so powerful that I was just like, you know what? Yeah, this season of this show, it gets it. Alright, so going on from that, what else I liked about this one is we're getting this, like, yeah, we might be... Like, some of the characters are actually acting like, yeah, this is it, this is where we die. While some of them are not acting that way. And I actually thought that was a good balance between who's accepting their fate versus who's still like, we gotta keep a fighting chance. Another thing is, I thought everyone, as usual, people in this show are giving such great performances that I'm just like, whoa, everyone's doing such a great job. I'm trying to think of like what the negatives are. This episode did not really have that many negatives for me. I was just like, yeah, it was hard to say when it's like, no, you guys are hitting it on all cylinders. There's a character where I'm starting to come around on this character, but this one just solidified how much I like this character. And yeah, just seeing everything, how the way they're doing it. This episode, as you noticed when I said the cast, doesn't contain Raffi or Worf. And it's fine, they don't need to be in this episode. This episode was done really well without them. Alright, so let's actually move on to my score, guys. And as you can tell from how happy I sound right now, I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10 for amazing. It was just, I'm going to recommend it for sure. This episode had so much in it, in a way that it worked really well. It felt like a classic Star Trek episode, but also had new elements that I thought it just worked so well. I'll talk more about it in the spoiler section, but yeah, guys, this was a really well-made episode where I don't know where this Picard has been. Like the first 3 episodes, good. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about like Picard season 1 and season 2, where it's just like, where has this been? If they would have just gone off the gate with season 1, like stuff like this, like wow, we would be talking about the show in a completely different light. But yeah, this episode just showed it. All right, so I definitely recommend this episode, guys. And let's actually move on to my spoiler section. So, guys, for those of you that aren't going to join us for the spoilers, please watch the episode and come back and watch the spoilers with us. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you guys thought about this episode once you watch it. All right, guys, let's move on to the spoiler section. So here's the 5-second warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, welcome into the spoiler section. As usual in the spoiler section, I'm going to be going through the entire episode, plot by plot and things like that, and I'll be giving you commentary on what I thought about these sections. So we start off, after we get our previously on Picard and stuff, we find Picard inside 10 forward. He's about to have his lunch, but a bunch of cadets go near him, and they want to know a story about him against, I think the Herosian as the species it was about. But either way, they're trying to talk to him while he's just about to try and get his meal. But, you know, it's Picard, and he's seeing these young... I know this is a point where he's not as thrilled with Starfleet. This would have been after he left Starfleet and retired, but these cadets aren't to blame for what happened. So he's just like, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys a story. So that's where we start the episode with this story. And then we jump back to the future where we have the crew of the Titan and they are dead in the water. And this is just like they are screwed beyond belief. They have no power to do anything. I think they even say like critical systems are going to go like in a matter of hours. So then we actually jump now to Picard, and Riker comes in with him. Riker was in the last scene, but now Riker comes in there and he's like telling him, like, I'm giving you this courtesy because he's like, we're dead in the water. The Titan is probably dead. Go talk to your son. Like, this might be the only chance you ever get to do this. Go talk to your son. So I thought that was really cool. From here, then we jump back to, now we're jumping to 7. And 7 talks to Riker because she knows that they have a changeling on board. And she knows, like, we're screwed right now. Like, we're already with the other issues, but it's like we have a changeling on board. And instead of reinstating her, Riker says, hey, I'm going to keep you off the books right now. You do what you got to do to go find this enemy. So then 7 goes away. She's going to go start her investigation to figure out what's going on. We then go on to Beverly in the sickbay. And she's starting to notice something, that these flashes that are happening, like, they're in a pattern. And she's starting to figure out what that pattern is. We don't know fully yet, but that's where we go to. Alright, so now we go back to 7, who's doing her stuff. And 7 knows that she doesn't know enough about changelings. Remember, 7 was in the Delta Quadrant through most of that time during Dominion War. So she really wasn't a part of any of that. However, Shaw was, so Shaw then gives her information, tells her, hey, you need to look out for this, and this, but we'll come back to that later. Alright, so now we go to Picard and Jack, who end up going into the holodeck, and he puts up an image of 10 Forward, and they're about to have a drink. I think Jack mentions that he doesn't like, whatchamacallit, wine, was it? But yeah, it was. I thought it was really funny. And then there's a funny moment where Picard Jack asks him one question. He's like, when did you lose your hair or whatever? And then Picard just looks at him and is like, just enjoy it while you can. I was just like, damn, this is messed up. All right. Then we jump back to 7 and Shaw, and he tells her information, says, hey, you need to look out for these cylinders, which is a weird, if you actually look at, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where we have a changeling, that can that he uses, that one should have been specific to that show because it was given to him by someone that wasn't a changeling. But either way, let's move on from there. So now 7 knows her information. She goes, finds a changeling's place, and she finds the orb, cylinder that he uses to, like, to rest. All right, then we go back. Now we go to Vadic, and we actually find out that Vadic is in fact a changeling. She cuts her hand. Then she has a communication with her boss, and he tells her, like, no, you need to go find out what's going over there. You can't, like, not chase them. You need to get Jack Crusher. So then they go over there to try and get them. Vadic is not happy about it. And then we go back to Picard and Jack, and he tells him the Jack Crusher story. And it was actually cool how he even said, like, he would have named him after Jack even if he would have known. He was like, no, Jack was a great man. He would have named him after him. And then he tells him the story about when him and Jack basically stole a shuttle to go get laid. And on their way back, they got hit by meteorites, and they had to, like, do this crazy way to get back to the Starglazer. Starglazer. And that they had to do these weird stuff to get back, and that it was 10 grueling hours. It was really cool, guys. It was a fun watch right there, just him telling the story. Let's see. And then while he's talking, then now Shaw interrupts, and guys, he gives, like, the most bombshell, like, survivor's guilt story that you'll ever hear in Star Trek, where you find out the first time Shaw actually met Picard was at the Battle of Wolf 359. And for those of you that don't watch Star Trek, that is when Picard was taken in by the Borg. They assimilated him. And because of how amazing he was, and Shaw even says it, he didn't have a designation like 7 of 9. No, his name was Locutus of Borg. That he was so goddamn awesome that they named him. And I'm just like, damn, that is true. And he talks about how from his ship, I think it's the Constance, only 10 survivors, and he was lucky number 10. And he has crazy survivor's guilt because of what happened at that day. And the way he even talked to Picard, I was just like, you know what? I might understand this guy a little bit more of why he wants to make sure we don't take as many risks and things like that. Because, like, he talked shit to Picard about him doing all that stuff. Yeah, Picard doing stuff like that did lead to the Borg eventually doing what they did. So I'm like, I get Shaw in that aspect. And I was like, they made me realize Shaw's actually like probably one of their best characters they've ever used. Because they make us hate him, but then when you actually learn about him, you're just like, no, Shaw, like, everything that he stands for is justified. He believes in Starfleet, but he believes in order. And I just thought that was a great scene. Alright, so moving from there, now everyone that was in 10-4, because a bunch of younger people that were off duty, they ended up going in there to relax. But everyone looks at Shaw like he's just an asshole the way he talks to Picard. Alright, so now we go to Beverly, who, like, she interrupts Jack and Picard after they leave the holodeck. And she tells them that she might think of a way that they can get out. Now we go to a room with Riker, and they tell him the plan. And Riker's just like, are you guys kidding me? But eventually was like, we gotta try this, we gotta try this. And now Picard and Seven go to Shaw. Then this is after Shaw was an asshole, and he's like, we need you for this. Because Shaw used to be an engineer, so he knows this older ship, because none of the younger cadets or younger officers on the ship are going to know anything about this one. So they need Shaw. So they got the Grease Monkey to help them out. Okay, so from here... 1 second. So from here now, Seven and Shaw are talking about that, hey, what happens if the changeling on board tries to come and, like, attack us? Because I forgot to mention, it did attack them earlier. It attacked Seven when she was going from a corridor to another, and it destroyed its little cylinder so they can't actually track it. So here they're like, it might come try and get us when we're in this moment. So Seven then contacts Riker. We don't know what she says at this point, and that's fine. So then we go now to Picard on the bridge, and Riker's about to say, alright, we're going to start this thing of this crazy trick they're about to try, and he tells Picard, you got the con. And you can just see, like, the music and everything. It was like, oh, this is a great moment for Picard. It was a really cool moment. Like, he even got the cool music. It was just, oh, alright. So from here now, we go to Seven and Shaw, and Alondra, like, the LaForge shows up, and she comes in, and she's like, oh, I'm here to help, guys. I was told to come help. And they say, we told Riker not to send anyone. And Seven shows up, and then she's like, hey, like, what do you call me or whatever? Commander what? And she calls her Commander Hansen. And for those of you that saw episode 3, she doesn't call her Commander Hansen, she calls her Commander Seven. So then she shoots the changeling. Yeah, she was right. She got it right. It was the changeling. And then Shaw asks, how'd you know she was lying? She's like, oh, LaForge calls me Commander Seven, not Commander Shaw. And it was like, out of respect. And I was just like, oh, that was so good in Shaw's face. I'm like, it's telling you I'm liking Shaw a lot. All right, so then we go back, and now the nacelles are able to come out, and then they're trying to stay the ship on this wave, just trying to get out. As they're doing that, the Shriek eventually shows up, and Riker says, like, use a tractor beam on this asteroid, and they just figure out how to use the asteroid and throw it at the Shriek, and they have disabled it. So they were able to get away from her, and then they end up coming to, like, these alien babies. So, like, this whole thing was an entire birth, and we see, like, these alien babies around, and it's a really cool scene. It's like, oh my god, this is what they try to do, to explore new worlds, strange things. It's like, oh man, this is it. This is what Star Trek is really meant about. And it was a very beautiful scene. So from there, we actually go to Picard back in the old time period, the flashback, and he mentions in this, one person asks him, do you ever feel like you weren't there for your family or anything? He's like, Picard's like, Starfleet is the only family I've ever needed. And then we go back, and the person that asked this was Jack. And this is why Jack hasn't pursued Picard, because of what Picard said that day. And I was just like, you know what? That makes sense. Picard, you fucked up saying that. I know why he said it, but he fucked up saying that. And then we have a cool Deanna moment where we see her, and they have their talk between her and Riker, and he's admitting like, hey, I know I haven't been great and all that, but I love you and stuff like it. It was a really beautiful scene. I actually liked it. All right, and now we jump now to Jack, and it turns out he's having these nightmares where he's seeing things. And now the question is Jack a spy? What's going on? Is he double agent? He doesn't know. This is the start of something crazy, guys. So I'm hoping we see something in the next episode, but wow, I like where we're going here, guys. All right, well, that's it for this episode, guys. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys thought about this episode of Star Trek. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.